So my favorite part about it is the whole subterranean creature bit, because this was after she had gone on her tirade of calling me a cow, which I already just kind of took back and went, okay, I ain't a moose.
Hey everyone, so we decided, it went so well the last time, that we were going to have Courtney Orchard come back on. Say hi, Courtney.
Hi everybody, how are you?
So basically what's going to happen is today is we are going to go over all the fallout, let's call it, from
that last segment.
Because the last segment basically exploded. Now, for those who don't know, the highest viewed video on the channel before August was the first Lily Orchard video where we called her out for lying about me and ignoring Xena. Since the Courtney videos come out, Lily has had some things to say, but the video also shot to #1 on the channel. So it is currently the highest viewed video on the channel and still climbing. It gets probably at least 500 to 1,000 views a day. The reality here is that we figured it would be a really good idea to do some follow-up and kind of talk to Courtney, A, about what's happened since then. Also, some of the stuff that Lily's posted on her Tumblr, some of the comments we got, some were great, some of them were incredibly stupid. And if possible, if time will allow for, maybe do some question and answer from the audience with Courtney as long as time allows. So, does that make sense to everybody? Do you understand what we're doing? I guess let's start here. Courtney, Zizi and I are really wondering, like, you had opened up your Discord, you had told everyone how to find your Tumblr, and what happened after the segment?
Oh God. What did happen? So, first of all, I kind of blew up on Tumblr, which is weird. I only have like 200 followers, but my activity is insane. I get like 2,000 notes a week, and that just blows my mind. The fact that so many of you just want to listen to what I have to say is baffling to me, and I appreciate all of you. And then, of course, there's my sister's response to all of it.
Your Discord kind of popped off too, didn't it?
Yeah, the Discord did. I think we're at like, I think we're still under 50 people now, but we're close to, which is still, again, wild because I didn't expect it to get that far. I got a great bunch over there. Great little group, and it got a lot bigger than I thought it would because, again, the fact that so many of you just want to listen to me talk is extremely baffling.
And you have a lot of stuff to say. Like, one of the things I've noticed, because I'm the one that checks our Tumblr page, is that you don't only just respond to stuff that Lily posts, but you're often sharing stories and things like that and showing a lot of support for people who have also been victims of CSA and things like that. So, like, that combination of factors, I think there's probably a lot of people that resonate with kind of you coming forward about that. So this is one of the reasons why we wanted to do this segment so much, is that it's one thing to kind of hear about allegations from a content creator because the alleged victims are sort of like wanting to hide behind the scenes, which is totally legit and fine. But with you kind of coming forward and being like, no, really, this is what happened, this is what's going on. Yeah, it sort of feels like that probably made a lot of people feel like they could be drawn to you because, you know, that's a fairly courageous act, being willing to come forward and actually say, like, hey, this happened in my family. Because families are, like, notorious for making it so that, like, you're not supposed to talk about these things.
And one of the big things, too, is that I think abuse that also has an online element to it is very difficult for people to understand because they're just not used to hearing about how, like, those mechanisms or those interactions function, right? And so this whole situation really does shine a light on, no, stuff can happen over the internet, and we know that, but here's exactly how.
Yeah, that's true. I have gotten quite a number of their asks, but they're really just people being like, oh, I just thank you for coming forward. And like so many people apparently just appreciate me being so vocal and so candid about this, which I get because, I mean, it's half the reason I've always been so vocal and candid because nobody is. And if more people were, then me and Lily wouldn't have gone through what we had to go through.
And Lily also exists in a bizarre null space. So one of the things that got brought up after the video, a lot of comments actually asked the question, why hasn't any of the bigger channels covered Lily? Why hasn't, you know, the Ethan Kleins or the big drama channels or, you know, Swoop or other people that would do, like, you know, preferably not like Keemstar, but like someone like Swoop who would do their due diligence and do a really good video on it. And the thing I came to with looking at those comments was that the reason why I think this video and you coming out was so much more meaningful was because I think you not only during it showed a willingness to own your So, like, we literally started off that segment kind of talking about, you know, at least that part of that segment, what happened and what you had done, and you had owned it, you would apologize for it, and you would even yourself come out as non-binary. On top of that, there is a way in which, up until this video, I think Lily has existed in this weird null space almost where she's just small enough and just kind of accepted in the YouTube space to not really be covered, except by smaller channels who are either trying to speak up about their experiences, like say, like, you know, my son, Shiloh, or Essence of Thought, you know, trying to bring out these allegations. It's never been one of the big channels or one of the big, you know, content creators or anyone, you know, really talking about this, despite the fact that, like, there's a lot of skeletons, at least allegedly, in Lily's closet, and it never gets brought up. And so I think that one of the reasons this video meant so much and was such a huge deal is we had a number of people join our server saying they came here because of the Lily video, and that's happened every single video, but this one brought in a pretty sizable contingent of people. I mean, we're almost at 1,000 people in the Discord. That's huge. We were at like 800 before this happened. So, like, you know, that's a pretty large dive in. So I think that's why that is that Lily just has this almost like force shield of people not paying attention to this for some reason. This video actually shined a light on that because it was someone actually coming forward and saying what happened.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, you know, over the years, there's been ways that some of the allegations have been able to, like, she's been able to either sweep them under the rug, or, you know, they get obfuscated, or they're confusing enough, or there isn't definitive evidence enough, even though people know it's wonky, or there's just so much information out there that, like, how do you piece through it? So, no, I think you coming out to share really did kind of give more solidity to everything.
Chat, to answer your question, Lily's platform is 137,000 subs last time I checked. She's not that huge, but that's still a lot.
Well, and one of the...
concerning.
Just for some context, too, one of the ways that this really affects us is that we do have a lot of people that come from, especially Lily's community and other places that we hear a lot of woke schooly stuff about. They come to our server a lot of times. So we're dealing often with a lot of people that are like, is it okay if I read this thing? Is it okay if I write this thing? I want to write this fanfic about, like, these teen people, and I'm not that old myself, but is it okay? And so they come to us with so much shame bottled up about, you know, their media takes or what they want to write about. And so that's one of the big ways that's kind of why we do this stuff, is because we do have to actually, like, deal with the people who have been through this stuff.
No, 110%. Yeah. Does that all make sense, Courtney? Do you have any thoughts on any of this? I know we kind of, like, sounded off for a minute, but, like, I am curious about your thoughts on some of this stuff.
Oh, I mean, a lot of it makes sense. A lot of it, like, tracks with, like, the feedback that I've been getting from people. I do have plenty of people that I'm pretty sure are in Lily's community that do reach out, or at least close enough to her community that they're, like, afraid. They're too afraid. They've, like, a lot of them have even said they're too afraid to follow my blog. They're too afraid to, like, actually participate in supporting my blog, but they watch everything and they send me questions and whatnot. So I know there's like a lot of reach, mostly because way too many people have gone through what I went through. It's still baffling, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it has this vibe of, like, I genuinely think there's this weird thing on the online left, at least, and I'm going to just call it out for, you know, the giggles, but there's a lot of people who like doing the whole PDF file hunters. They like doing the whole, like, you know, this person's this person's this. But when it comes to actually dealing with the victims or dealing with people who have, you know, are survivors of this stuff and figuring out how to navigate it, they don't really know what to do. There's not really any kind of, like, discussion about how to handle these things. I feel like we don't really have a good method of being able to deal with folks like this, which is really sad, because one of the things that really blows is there are lots of examples of content creators all over the platform basically either shitting on victims, right? Actual lack of compassion, or they actively, like, have created victims. So
anyway.
Yeah. Well, and even the PDF file hunters, those folks, one of the jokes about that Rio Spirit is that apparently, you know, there's like this weird thing where some of these groups end up turning out to be predators, right? Like, you know, why is a 40-year-old guy pursuing a 17-year-old? That's weird. So again, I think that there are a lot of things that are still built into, unfortunately, a lot of these systems that make it so people really don't want to know or engage with these things. It's almost don't talk about it because that will make it real, or we'll have to deal with it. In some ways, it feels like the Lord Voldemort thing, like speak the name and they'll know. Like, it is a very strange thing. And it makes it very hard for people to come forward.
Ostrich story. You know, an ostrich sticks its head in the sand to hide from its problems, which they don't actually do. That's a lot of people like to do that with tough topics.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Aqua, I agree. Yeah, no, a lot of 18, 19-year-olds are abused by predators because they, even though they legally fall into the realm of consenting adult, we're still talking about brain development being, still being online. And on top of it, There's also questions about power dynamics. One of the biggest thing you can do, by the way, if you're a younger person in a relationship with an older person, is sit down and have a very real conversation about the power dynamics in your relationship. Every person I date is younger than me. I have to have these conversations. I try to be very front-facing about them because otherwise it creates problems. And so, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing that we keep finding is that we keep talking to young person after young person after young person who goes, what are power dynamics? And we're like, but but are you already in this relationship?
No.
Yes? Wait, what? No.
Run.
Oh, okay. Like, back up here. And so, like, there's just, like, a whole lot of lack of, like, education right now on better ways to do consent than just, yes means yes,
But no means yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what did I hear? I've heard so many of them. No means no, even if you paid for a very expensive date. Like, that's what they used to have to tell people, like, in the 90s. Like, I've watched youth protection videos. Like, that's how they frame this stuff, and I'm like, oh, geez, we gotta remind people of that stuff, don't we? Oh, wow.
When victims come forward, they're flat out asked, well, did you say no? Did you verbalize a no? Because there's this weird idea that if there's no, then it's a yes.
Absolutely.
Which is actually, I'm actually gonna like go really clearly. I believe in the hell yeah rule. If somebody, let me be really clear, like comes from Mark Manson's book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And he basically says in it very clearly that if you ask someone if they want to do something and their answer to it is, hell yeah, awesome. If their answer to it is something to the effect of, I don't know, maybe, it's a no. Don't fuck around. Don't play games. Don't
push and prod.
Don't make a big deal. It's a no. Because if someone really wants to do something, they will tell you.
Plus, don't you want somebody like the proverbial you? Wouldn't you want somebody who's excited about participating like that? If they're not excited about it, aren't you just kind of settling for like a pity fuck?
I mean, she's not wrong.
Right. And for my ace peeps in the back, it is totally okay to still be enthusiastic, still want to be in the situation, and not necessarily like feel a whole ton about the act. If you're just like, meh, you know what? I am getting out of this that I like being with my partners, and I'm having an enjoyable experience, totally fine. You're all good, okay? You guys are always seen.
That is valid.
I get this question all the time. So I always try to make sure they know that they're included in all of this, too.
There's nothing that deep about smashing pissers.
Says the people with BPD that, like, catch feels like it's going out of style.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with smashing pissers.
I mean, I've caught feels a lot while doing that. I don't know about you.
Yes, but sex is not love. Love is not sex.
That's true. I agree.
A lot of young people need to learn that. Just because he wants to dick you down doesn't mean he cares about you.
Just because he wants to dick you down.
Let's switch up the genders ad nauseum, however need be.
Okay, so what we're going to do, folks, is we are going to go through some of these screenshots that are from Lily's blog and talk about some of the things that have come from that and go from there. You gave me these ones out of your personal favorites, and I'm just going to name off the file and read it off for everybody, and then what we'll do is you kind of give us some context and kind of let us know what your thoughts are, okay? Awesome. So the first one I've got up is LO3. It is stated as, I can't read the question, but it ends with the, to you, as though that contradicts you saying that you always had signs that you never realized that becomes you being a transphobe. Lily says, once they managed to convince a few people I was anti-black for writing Allie, they realized they could basically say anything, so it just became a contest to pile as much crap on me as possible to make me look like some super Nazi, if the armband fits. They are also claim I'm anti-Indigenous based on a 6-year-old post where I made jokes about my genetics. But because online harassment is about burying someone in accusations, which the public won't verify, they just keep escalating and escalating and escalating. That's the only reason the subterranean creature calling itself my sibling, ouch, is making these outlandish molestation claims. We'll get back to that. It doesn't matter if I was 7 when it's claimed to happen. It's just another one of those receipt posts. Man, this is priming 101. It's all alt-right playbook tactics from the ground up. No, it isn't. That has nothing to do with this, Lily. Don't bring Innuendo Studios into this. And most of these skanks are TERFA. I don't know what a TERFA is. To begin with. I assume she means TERF. Yeah, again, I want to be really clear. Nothing about that would be... Yeah, this is some Illuminati tier priming. I agree 100% beyond safe words. So,
true.
What are your thoughts on this particular post? I'll show it on screen because I'm an idiot. There we go.
So, my favorite part about it is the whole subterranean creature bit, because this was after she had gone on her tirade of calling me a cow, which I already just kind of took back and went, okay, I ain't a moosed bitch.
We bought you stuff for your headset. It's going to be awesome.
right? I've bought myself stuff. It's going to be awesome. Because her calling me a cow has never bothered me. Well, since we were kids. My favorite part about that is the subterranean creature, because like cue the mole art fan art people, the mole people fan art. Like, let's go. Because that's all that reads to me. It's like subterranean creature. Like I'm a mole person, because that's cool as fuck. Like that's not as insulting as you think it is, Lily.
I was gonna we stand all kinds of beings in this house.
Well, and also calling itself my sibling is so weird. And then, so this is something you and I have talked about. I don't know if you want to talk about this on stream, so I'm just putting it out there. There's a language game she's going to be playing in some of these screenshots, specifically the outlandish molestation claims. I don't know how comfortable you are talking about some of that stuff, but I wanted to bring it up only because there's a language game here about what you originally alleged versus what's sort of come up since then.
Oh, I'm perfectly fine saying that on stream, because there's actually one of the screenshots directly pertains to that.
Got it. All right. Well, do you want me to get to that screenshot?
Yeah, the one where she flat out says, Courtney was never molested, for the record.
For the record, Courtney was never molested. Their claims of being molested are some of the most batshit ridiculous things I have ever heard. Nobody snuck into their room to molest them while they were sleeping. They made that shit up. They were the fucking golden child who got everything they wanted, even when... That doesn't mean there wasn't an abusive family, you dumb bitch. Anyway, even when they ran away, they got money from our parents constantly. So do you. They even drove all the way to Montreal...
$50 a week for weed.
Way to Montreal when they called them saying that they wanted to come home only to balk once they were there. They were their little...
Oh yeah, that's when my mother tried to sucker punch me.
We'll come back to that story, but wow. Also, Lily has tried to misgender and dehumanize Courtney so many times. Sega Sister, this is my surprise face.
I do think it's funnier to read this stuff with Courtney here going, here's the context. I've got the context. This post get a lot better.
They are more fun when you actually know what's going on, and it's not just like, I'm pretty sure this is nonsense. Let's see here. They also have a history of lying to get their way. I mean, so do you. I have no idea why...
Where?
I
got in my way, and where did I lie?
I have no idea why they crawled out of the woodwork to bother everyone now at all times. Well, because reasons. I have no idea why they do anything. They're a drugged up, not by my experience, abusive sociopath, also not by my experience.
What?
With a hatred of everyone who doesn't want to confront the fact that they destroyed their own life. Destroyed her life? What do you know? What? Her life is fine.
Keep in mind, this chick still thinks that I live in Ontario when I do not.
I mean, she doesn't have a collar or anything, but she's doing good. They have also claimed to have known that I was being molested as a child and did nothing. They were also a child.
And some of this was being figured out, like, retroactively about the past.
A vile, despicable act of malice for which I will never forgive them. Lily, you've never brought it up before once. And the fact of the matter is that when you were a child, it is scary to bring that stuff forward. And by the way, she didn't say she knew when she was a child. She said she figured it out when she became an adult.
I said I believed her. That's it.
Yeah, like you were literally like, yeah, when I remember the line. You literally said something to the effect of, like, when I became an adult, I actually really thought this was the case. Like, no, like what? Like, Lily, someone believed you. Lily.
Yeah, honey, I didn't say I knew. I said I believed you. And that given what I did know, it made sense that was true.
Courtney, I truly wish the worst on you. I'm so sorry for reading this. I hope you die penniless in a ditch and get buried in an unmarked grave in Minecraft. Nobody will miss you when you're gone, and your I would. Shut up, bitch. And your pathetic attempts to vindictively lash out at me and sick a mob of fascist psychos. Man, we're still fascists. Wow. On me for a crime of living better than you will fizzle out. What's that?
We're a mob, too. We're upgraded.
Well, she at least acknowledges there's more than one of us now.
I don't know. We've upgraded from we are both Carol to now we're a mob.
We really do need to change the name back.
Tumblr is just Brittany.
By the way, I'm just going to be really clear. Also, at some point, I think for Halloween, for like the last week of August or October, we should change the name of the channel back to Carol.
Have a costume.
Yeah, it's a costume.
We all need the zero punctuation style costume.
Yeah, we do. And then we also can be. No, I was about to make a joke about the fact that Yahtzee's super transphobic. Anyway, you're a pathetic waste of human life, and all this stamping and screaming is just your fucking death rattle. You are not a victim of anything but your own impotent rage and self-destructive lunacy. Projection much? You want to be the victim so badly, but you never will be. I'll refer to my previous statement. You are an abuser, still. You're always have been an abuser, and a particularly nasty one at that. Your claims to take my memories and experiences and claim them as your own are transparent. You're cozying up to white supremacists with imagined claims about my heritage are transparent, and none of this is going to last. You are a spoiled cow. Man, she loves the cow claim. Who hates everyone because you can't accept that you tore your own life to shreds. Her life is fine. Shut up. For nothing. And the only reason you're on this tirade is because Cameron, mom and dad don't have an obsessive following of horny little bigots. Okay, listen, I am 6 foot. I am not little. And I am not a bigot. I will take the horny charges. Also, I'm better at it than you.
That's true. Much to my chagrin.
I own my shit. Okay, listen here.
Let me tell you how many people show up at the stream and are like, I want to flirt with Poppy, and then they show up for me and they're like, knitting. And I'm like, those are kind of the same, right?
Hey, Lily, you know what the difference between you and me is? I know we both have trans girls in our DMs showing off pictures. The difference is mine are of age. Trans femme bad. I'd say I hope you burn in hell, but hell is too good for you. All right, so where do you want to go with this?
Okay, so the fun things are, I destroyed my life. Again, bitch, where? Lily, you're on disability in subsidized housing. I can move provinces at will because I can afford to. I don't need our parents for support, unlike you. So where do you live better than me? And okay, so like this is what baffles me. She's like, oh, I live better than you, and that claims to have like a tirade mob of horny little bigots apparently after her, but yet I don't. So you're living better than
I was gonna say, I'm not sure how the horny bigot mob is a good thing.
No, and what the funny thing is that when I first saw that, I misread that as to her calling her fans the horny bigot mob, and then she ran with that and was like, oh, abusers will misread anything, and it's like, yes, Lily, yes, you will.
Can we start effectively calling them the horny bigot mob? Because I really want to.
Well, see that, and there's also Britannia, which is because all of us on Tumblr are just sock puppets of Britney, according to Lily.
That's funny because at least with you guys, at least like on your end of things, like we can actually find all the different people. Like they'll come and like be like, hey, I exist.
Yeah, it's really funny. So yeah, so she's on this tirade that I've destroyed my life, which is just categorically false.
Oh no, Aqua, this is Darvo in a nutshell, 100%.
Yes, it's fun. So my favorite part that I'll just get out there while everyone's paying attention is the fact that she flat out says that I was never molested, that nobody snuck into my room to molest me. Now,
trigger warning for molestation or claims of CSA.
Now, if we keep in mind that Cameron raped me for years, he didn't molest me as far as I remember. I wouldn't classify any of it as molestation. It's fair. I wasn't molested there. Now, if Lily snuck into my room and was raping me in my sleep, then it's categorically true that I was never molested and that she didn't molest me because she raped me. Now, I've had suspicions that this happened since I figured out that something happened, but I've been holding out hope it didn't go that deep. But if we also take into account the fact that my underwear would disappear off my body every night, I would go to sleep with underwear on, I would wake up and it's not even in my room. I had weekly, if not monthly, if not weekly, UTIs or yeast infections until I got that lock. I pissed the bed every night until I got that lock. I'm pretty certain she raped me. She didn't molest me.
I mean, to be fair, based on my understanding of CSA cases, not to mention my own history, yeah, I mean that falls well in line. The big,
and then that makes her claim true that she didn't molest me, and I never was molested. I was just raped by both of them.
It's playing a word game, folks. This is one of the things that Lily does, and with this accusation, it makes sense because she has a tendency to play these kinds of
She likes to admit things while trying to defend herself.
Yeah. Beyonce Ford said in chat, yeah, those are very common symptoms of severe CSA. Yes, they are.
Yes.
Well, and
I've had those symptoms since infancy.
Even when Poppy and I have had people come forward to us, sometimes it takes people a bit to get the exact right language or to have the exact right technical definition, or to piece out all of the pieces together, right? This is an ongoing process for people of piecing all of this out and kind of figuring out how to cognize and process it. A language change like that really isn't that big of a deal. Clearly, Lily's got other ideas about it.
Yeah, and it's also strange that she never, she doesn't deny the allegations against her. She doesn't come out and say, I did not do this. She just says, it never happened. And the other funny thing I love is she's like, oh, you're taking my claims and my memories and claiming them as your own. Honey, you're claiming to have been touched by a teacher. I'm claiming much, much, much worse. That's not me stealing your memories.
No, it's super disgusting. And I do want to respond to something here because it does involve us. So I want to be really clear. For those who don't know, Lily's claim about us being white supremacists comes from Lily wholeheartedly being a puritanical progressive and going along with those online like, say, Jessie Gender, who will follow certain types of marginalized people regardless of how bad their behavior is. An example of this is Professor Flowers. For those who don't know, about 2-3 years ago, Vosh had a debate with a content creator by the name of Professor Flowers. And in that debate, Vosh attempted to get her to acknowledge that she was essentially saying that marginalized people who had been colonized have the right to do everything up to cultural genocide to get rid of their colonizers, even if this was several generations later. Vosh kept asking her in different ways, pushing her on this because that's an insane claim.
It's almost like generalizing a race is not a good idea.
And so basically she kept doubling down on it. And so one of the things is that Professor Flowers, because of how she did this, several different content creators weaponized this, and it became this long-standing thing that Vosh is somehow a white supremacist because he doesn't just believe people of color outright. Because there's this notion within the left, and rightfully so, that you should listen to people of color. You should. But the question always then comes down to, from an id poll perspective, which ones? Should we listen to Candace Owens?
And also, what should you do, right? People always confuse the listening and hearing somebody out as, okay, do what they tell us to do.
Exactly. Jessie Gender didn't listen to people of color. Jessie Gender saw a person of color say something that she agreed with, and agreed with it, and then told everybody to back off of Breonna J's death, and said that we shouldn't say her name for a 16-year-old trans girl that was murdered, only to find out that the girl, Tamisha, the one that decided to actually come out and try to yell at everybody for that hashtag, was categorically wrong. It was used for Indigenous women in Canada too, and let's just be very clear, also was anti-miscegenation. She was anti-race mixing.
Segregation, it's giving Jim Crow racism.
Yeah, no, it was literally like her just shitting on lighter-skinned black people. Like, so this was the person that like Jessie Gender and a bunch of other like people who call themselves leftists but like are actually libs were following.
So like apartheid?
No, I mean, some of these people are ethno-nationalists, but let's not get into it. But the reality here is that that's why she keeps calling us white supremacists, because we backed Vosh about that. That segment never came out because I didn't like how he handled it. I thought we didn't give good arguments during it. It wasn't because we suddenly disagreed. It's because we literally didn't like how the segment went, and we thought about redoing it, and then we chose not to because we were dealing with migraines at the time. But the fact of the matter is, people have been like, where'd that segment go? The stream is still up, my dude. Like, we still literally have it up. Every time Professor Flowers has come up, we've talked about it again. So that's where that claim comes from. It's Lily idiotically claiming that we somehow are acting terribly, in the sense that because we didn't listen to one black woman who said it was okay to do cultural genocide multiple times. Anyone that sees that Vosh debate and says otherwise is lying to themselves. I am tired of people trying to gaslight us about this.
Lily also just loves to throw that term around. I mean, hell, she called Rebecca Sugar a Nazi sympathizer.
Yeah, because like Rebecca Sugar mishandled fascism in a slightly libby way. She's suddenly a Nazi sympathizer? No, she was a lib and she handled it poorly. Like, again, the diamond should have been... hot take, the diamond should have been whacked. Especially white diamond.
This is what's going to get us canceled, is these takes on... the show that I haven't even seen all of. Sorry, that's going to be this.
All right, let's get to LO4. We got to get through these. Me talks openly about how my family has been reconnecting with our heritage, feelings of imposter syndrome and de-assimilation. Stalkers. Lily is claiming to be indigenous because she thinks it's exotic. The price you pay when your abusive sister decides to get in on the grift mill in the worst possible way. What grift? No one's paid her. I mean, I bought her cow horns. What do you up about? Yeah, honestly, that cow will say anything to get head pats from these cretins. Okay, listen. You are a trans woman. You will also do almost anything for head pats. Do not glass houses, dear.
She says in another one that I'm doing all this for attention, and like, I'm sorry, Lily, sweet lamb, dearest sister of mine. When I want head pats, I go ask my boyfriend because I live with him. When I want attention, I go get attention because, honey, I'm prettier than you, I'm smarter than you, I'm funnier than you, and I have a personality. I don't need the likes of you back in my life for attention, Lily. All you bring me is a potential manslaughter charge.
In Minecraft. Real quick, I also want to make something very, very clear. Like, we also got really shitty comments saying that I was prettier than Lily was somehow, like, bad and somehow transphobic. I just want to categorically say that, like, being a catty bitch is not the same thing as being transphobic. There's a segment we're doing later tonight that will show that. But the reality is that, like, no. Like, I will absolutely talk shit to people who have awful allegations against them and who have actively lied against me. You have not seen the comments we have deleted where people have actively called me out and treated me like utter garbage because of Lily and her nonsense. And by the way, I want to be really clear. Lily still has never had the spine to make a video about us.
No, she doesn't have the spine to do anything. That's why she uses her little sock puppet sucky boy to prompt herself to talk about shit on her own blog.
Allegedly. All right. Yeah, again, this whole thing about again, no one said it was because you're indigenous because it's exotic. It's because you took something your mom was obsessed with and ran with it because it would give you extra idpol cred, not because it's exotic.
The funny thing about that.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, oh, I talk openly about this for years, except if you go to her ask box, even when it's not open, there's rules. And one of them is, if you have questions regarding my family, my tribe, blah, 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 I don't know where you think you had the right to this information, but you fucking don't. So, like, I'm sorry, honey, you've been open about what now?
Didn't
You're
you,
so open about the lengths that you're going to that you can't even put 2 and 2 together and realize that Hank wasn't even Cherokee?
Didn't you talk with people about, like, and actually, like, chase down some more of, like, family members on this one?
Like, my aunt directly is giving me information so I can learn about my grandfather's heritage.
Fair enough. Let's go to the next.
I know the tribes. I know the name of the language. I know his spirit name. I know my aunt's spirit name. Nothing Lily can say. And Lily likes to posture that my aunt is like some prevalent force in her life that gave her things or explained something to my grandfather. All my aunt has to say about Lily is, I know your mother's second oldest is problematic in a number of directions. I don't want to know.
This is actually related to that claim. So Ginger Snaps Talking Nonsense asked, oh, so her notoriously for lying and causing problems on purpose sister, who appears from the other 2 months ago, said it despite actual evidence being publicly available of her grandfather being indigenous. Well then, fuck me, it must be true. Eat glass, loser. Lily said, our grandparents are native, our aunts are native, our mom is native, our niece, that's supposed to be our niece and nephew are native, we are native. Courtney may not care about their heritage, but that's their loss. A lot of things are their loss. They are an empty, miserable person who is trying desperately to avoid the fact that they've ruined their own life for a guy who ditched them at the first opportunity.
Again, bitch, where? That's a direct reference to Jake, because when I went out to Montreal with Jake, he did inevitably ditch me, which is fine, whatever. We dated for like 3 fucking months. It was basically a hot minute. We barely really knew each other. But Jake got me out of there inadvertently, and I will forever fucking love him for that. I don't even care that he ditched my ass in Montreal.
I mean, good dick is good dick. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, good dick helped the girl out.
I don't even know if it was.
That's fair.
Well, like, honestly, so what? Like, things happen, things change. Like,
also, you were in an abusive household where you suddenly came to the realization at like 17, 18 that this stuff was happening, and we're like...
But like meeting Jake and realizing Jake was homeless made me go, oh fuck, homeless isn't an option? Is an option? Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yeah.
And that alone is enough for me to like not even give a fuck that he ditched my ass in Montreal, which he did, and I don't care. I was 18, 17, almost 18, and he was like 19, maybe 20. We were fucking kids.
All right, next one, let's go. And the extra shit cherry on the abusive Sunday, she referred to her niece and nephew as the bastards. Children are 10 and 6 years old. Did nothing to her, just spewing venom at them for no fucking reason. Cameron is a multiple rapist, allegedly.
Oh, the funny thing about this one is this was right after she was blaming me as a 6-year-old for not stopping her abuse at her teacher's hands.
Yeah.
So she goes from blaming me as a 6-year-old to saying that I'm the most horrendous person for calling, and I'm sorry forever this offends, but it's just what I do, the bastards. Because Cameron, my mother and Cameron's father were not married when he was born. He's a bastard. Cameron and the mother of his children are not married. His kids are bastards. That's just fact.
Well, and also I just want to be really clear. Simultaneously, a 6-year-old is innocent. But you as a 6-year-old somehow are supposed to fly in and like drag an uppercut this teacher. Next thing.
That I didn't even know was doing anything.
This wouldn't be another instance of every accusation as a confession, would it? Doubtful. As if it was, it carries no weight. Their accusations against me put us at age 5 and 6, respectfully. You can't hold children that young accountable for anything. And I was... Oh, this is not great. And I was actually being molested at the time. Being creepy now. And yeah, they had grade A creep. Doesn't necessarily mean you were always creepy. Like I said when we were kids, the biggest issue with them was that their mother taught them to be a rude cunt to everyone under the guise of not taking anyone's shit. What they might have done as a child is irrelevant compared to what they're doing as an adult now. Wait, is this Wait.
Right. Okay, so this is her... trying to say that, or trying to posture that me coming out about my abuse at her hands is me admitting to molesting her or something. That's how that starts, which is funny because all of her responses to this read as a fucking confession.
Well, it also brings up this thing of like again, so you didn't do anything.
Then you did.
But then you said, but if I did, it doesn't matter because we were kids. So, like, I want to be really clear. Like, as a kid, when I was younger, I had been, to my knowledge now, based on therapy, I have been a victim of CSA twice. Once with my older cousin, and once with another cousin of mine. One was male, one was female. And the reality is that at some point in my childhood, I did reenact some of that stuff with another girl. I regret it deeply. We have talked since, and things are fine. But I feel like shit about that. And I didn't know better. It wasn't until I got condemned at school and lost all my friends and was basically bullied for the next 3 years that I suddenly realized how bad all this stuff was. Because in my family, there were no such thing as boundaries. We'll get to that another day. But the reality is that, like, long story short is, this is very typical behavior of kids who have been victims of molestation or rape, is that they will act those things out with other kids. So it's entirely possible that if allegedly Cameron was doing things to both Lily and Courtney, then it follows that Lily would follow suit and reenact that stuff with the next kid that was weakest and available, which would be us with Courtney, at least allegedly.
See, the problem is where that loses any weight is the fact that it went on for 8 years. And the fact that she knew after I stopped cooperating with her coercion that she had to wait until I was both asleep and our parents were asleep all the way on the other end of the trailer. So, I mean, she knew what she was doing was wrong. And, like, sure, you can't hold the actions of a 6-year-old against them, although somehow she can hold the non-action of a 6-year-old me against me, but we'll get into that. But what about the actions of the 8-year-old, or the 10-year-old, or the 13-year-old, or the 14-year-old, or the 15-year-old?
This is the last one. This is LO9. Was there any writing aspects of G that you didn't originally plan to do with her back when you first started Madhouse, but are glad you did? Yeah, the weird intimacy tension she has with Comic Lily, mostly unpacking issues I have with IRL friendships there, got really strange, but I'm glad I did it. I know the stalkers jumped on to scream to scream, but if I exhaled, they'd excuse me of worsening climate change.
So there you go. So in her little comic, her little Gardevoir rapes her self-insert to help her deal with IRL relationship problems, and she's glad she did it.
God. Yeah, I just need a minute. Wow. Like
the funny thing is Lily said, "Oh, I wish nothing but the worst on you. Honey, it's already happened. You're my sister."
Yeah, I mean, some of these read like, yes, beyond safe words. Her comic is horrifying. Not only did she allegedly write Stockholm, but yeah.
Oh, and animal magnetism. Not to mention, like, every one of her, like, self-insert love interests in her Star Wars fics all have incestuous fucking themes to them. She's got one where her and her wife's self-insert talk about, oh, if we grew up as sisters, we'd totally fuck.
I don't kink shame anybody, but when it's that explicit, that's not a kink. That is a danger to yourself and others. So that's the screenshots. Let's get into the video. So for those who don't know, we did a video. This is what the back end of YouTube looks like. Enjoy it. So we're going to go through here quickly, and I'll just find some of the ones that are pretty interesting.
Oh, one quick thing while you're doing that I forgot to mention. When Lily claims that our grandmothers were native, like our grandparents were native, like, they weren't. Both of our grandmothers were born and raised in Newfoundland. Like, they don't have any ties whatsoever. And Lily's niece and nephew aren't native. They're indigenous because they're Mi'kmaq. They're not even Cherokee. Like, there's so many things that are just categorically false, and it blows my mind. Like, I'm sorry, if a Mi'kmaq woman goes and has children, that does not make you native, Lily.
So, I don't think he's on here anymore because I think I eventually hit him. But the first person I want to call out is this, I'm going to call him WM. He was a guy who was in the comments. And if you'll remember, Courtney, he was the gentleman that kept trying to get you to, like, forgive Lily.
Sparky.
Yeah. Sparky was trying to push you to forgive Lily because forgiveness good. And I got mad and started yelling back at him because I don't think forgiveness is a necessity. I think it's something that is earned.
Forgiveness is only useful if it's going to help the person doing the forgiving. If you're forgiving somebody to make the person you're forgiving feel better, you're just placating an abuser and you don't owe anybody that.
Absolutely. And again, like, this is a really common thing that people do to shut down victims is, oh, but they're family. I don't care.
Family just tells you who not to fuck, and mine got that wrong.
Ouch.
Damn.
Again, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Be very clear about this. Like, found family is where it's at. Blood relations is, doesn't matter. This entire story is nightmare fuel? I agree, sir. There were so many positive comments that now, like, the negative comments are all buried at the bottom.
One, that just went off on this unhinged rant.
Oh, no, you're talking about Orange Guy. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm trying to find him. The one that was like literally going through and like telling you like you didn't do anything to protect Lily, so you're just as bad as her. Like you could just cut him. You could cut yourself on that edge.
Oh God, no! It was like the whole like, oh, I'm clearly unwell, and Poppy, you're such a horrible person for adopting Patch, and like, oh God, this person went on this big tirade, and it's like, I'm sorry, sir. Where am I clearly unwell?
Sir, this is a Wendy's?
Really though. Like, sir, this is a YouTube comment section. Like, you
Also, there's a bunch, like, infantilizing Courtney and I, and I'm like, I know we're not...
How dare you flirt and laugh with a 30-year-old woman?
Oh, and there was somebody, too, that was like, was this the one where somebody got angry about you talking too much?
Oh, that one! Yeah. I'll see if I can't find it. The one that was like, literally... Oh, so this is really funny.
Prefaced.
So I'll see if I can't find it, but there was literally a person here saying that I talk too much, which I do, but let's get it clear.
But you preface it. You're like, me and Xena have talked. We both agree on what I'm about to say. And they're like, so just because you preface it doesn't mean you need to talk over everybody all the time.
Yeah. But the joke of it was that not only did we really like how that video came out, but the joke of this is that Lily, our editor, Penelope, basically was like, oh no, I really appreciate this video because you guys this is like your best work, and also like and like ZZ was like 100% like more engaged in this one, and it really was good. And so we're looking at that comment and then looking at what Penelope sent us over Discord and looking at the comment, and like it felt like looking into two different realities.
Right. I'm in the relationship with this one, okay? I can handle my communication issues with my partner on my own. Trust me, if Poppy is, like, talked over me, she's gonna hear about it from me later. We're gonna probably talk it out, okay?
We were in a voice call the other day. I talked over you and you told me off.
No, it's true. I mean, I probably talked over you a little bit, too. Like, it happens. Especially, like, on stream or in voice calls. We're like, I have this thought. And ADHD brain's like, if I don't say it, I'm gonna lose it. And I gotta wait my turn.
Understandable.
One of the things I really did appreciate in these is we had a lot of people that said they were former Lily subscribers, and I do really appreciate that. God damn, like people got voted up so hard that it just completely shoved all of the bad ones down.
Everyone needs an emotional support team.
Everyone watches the click. It's fine.
He went off on how you guys were unprofessional because you said Patch is now my son because he needs support, and then flirting with me was apparently bad, and then I was clearly unhinged, and then there was so much insistence of this person going, I know when somebody is writing a fic, that's their true intentions. I know, and nothing Lily has ever written has ever been her true intentions, and I know this for a fact. And it's like, sure, bud, and you're also not a Lily stan, are ya?
I just think it's really funny because like all of the comments shifted and all the ones I'm looking for are like...
Well, it's also like the pushback that I've gotten, the little bit of pushback I've gotten on Tumblr talking about the things that I talk about. Like, I had somebody just start going ham on how there was enough holes in my story to sink a ship because they were convinced they knew the ins and outs of Gardevoir porn back in like 2002.
What? What did I just hear?
Okay, so I had this post.
No, I believe you. Just the absurdity of this whole everything you just said is just.
Oh, buddy, I spent 2 whole days dealing with this.
I really hope you didn't take too much psychic damage because I'm just trying to I know the ins and outs of all of this porn of this Pokemon. What did you do with yourself your entire life?
Oh, here's one. We found one. I love you guys, but I have a problem with some of the things said here. Mainly, I don't think you should say that Lily, or anyone else for that matter, is not as pretty as Poppy and is just jealous of her appearance. I mean, have you seen me? Come on now. It's out of place and just feels like a low blow that shouldn't come after the more serious allegations. You're topping off all of that previous shit, and she's ugly. I didn't say she's ugly. I said I was prettier.
I did.
Yeah, that's what you're confusing people. That's what Courtney said. I didn't say that. I just said I was prettier. It feels like petty and insecure. Well, no, it's not insecure. It's that I have eyes.
It's just objective.
And it makes Lily fans think you're more prone to being bad faith. In other words, maybe don't criticize a trans woman's appearance, even if you are one yourself. So what I really dislike about this comment is that it brings up Lily being trans when I'm also a trans woman. And the reality is like, this is irrelevant. Like,
Can
I wasn't...
say something?
Sure, please.
Like, I'm sorry, someone going, I'm prettier than you, you're ugly. Welcome to being a girl. Trans girls are girls. This is what being a girl's about.
Well, and it begs the question here. Is like, why am I not allowed? It feels like this thing where like, there's a conflation going on between, was I attacking her appearance because she's trans or because I genuinely think I'm more attractive? And the answer is the second one. I think trans girls are hot. I know because 3 of my partners are trans.
I also
fucking
don't...
idiot.
HRT is just magic.
HRT
That's
is
super
fucking
true.
magic. That's true.
Doesn't matter. All HRT is magic. It's just amazing. I can't say that like I really have that big of a deal if like the worst we've got is I'm prettier than you. Like, okay, let my partner like have her shtick. Come on now, like whatever. I just because again, like it's not like this only really happens in like special cases, and we're really not going that hard.
Oh my god, self-confidence. Someone went, I'm prettier than you.
Also, I want to give this person credit though. They did come back a week later, and they were like, you know what? Disregard my arguments. I was lashing out for dumb personal reasons. I hate Lily too, and I'm sorry for fixating on that one comment. I have a history of with this whole I'm prettier, thinner, more popular than you comments being thrown around in lieu of actual criticism. I know that wasn't your intention, and this situation is different. I'm sorry. Based.
Okay, that's
Good
based. That's got a good heart on it.
Based.
All right. And like the other thing too is just being in those...
Oh, it's this person.
Being in that rough of a situation, like at some point, like you get a little tired making like complete criticisms the entire time, and just need some way to joke about the thing. Like,
so this comes from Foxy Fox.
Think she's pretty.
I want to be very clear that I deleted a lot of this person's comments, so you guys aren't going to see all of them. Be clear that like you're missing like probably 10 of them because a lot of them were just lashing out. This is what this person said. I do think it's entirely bullshit to blame a child who is beaten and abused, but in ways that are normalized for giving visual indications of real abuse happening and changing the story slightly so that people are more sympathetic and recognize the abuse for what it is. Those are the fucking tools that children have available to even try to escape, to be understood, to not have their issues downplayed. And it is borderline evil to use that against her like it's some mark of a terrible manipulated person. My response, I literally do not know what you are talking about. No one did anything even close to that. What are you describing? It's near the end, don't lie.
And me going, did you miss where she says inadvertently?
Well, like, I'm literally going like, this is the order of the replies. I was like, I'm not lying. No one blamed Lily for the abuse that happened to her, nor the coping tools she had, only citing them as evidence of very real issues. I seriously think you're projecting here. Now, you can either be civil or not, your call, but the comments have rules. Please abide by them.
that and like you can literally put in timestamps for YouTube. What?
See, I know exactly what they're talking about.
DC, do you want to read Courtney's comment right here?
Did you miss the part where Poppy says the false claims were inadvertently helping hide the actual abuse? Because that's kind of important, kind of sets up the distinction that Lily wasn't doing it intentionally and it was a side effect of her actions. Meaning blame was not put on her, it was taken off of her. Lily also had many more avenues to tell the truth than most kids, avenues she chose not to take and chose to lie instead, with many adults wrapped around her finger. But she chose to lie to the other kids about our dad hitting her, rather than her counselor, the extent of the spanking.
This part, we had that dude come up and do the forgiveness thing again. My response to this dude again, Courtney never did or sent anything like that, and that is strike 2 for you acting inappropriate in the comments. It was a big deal for Courtney to come on. You need to show her a bare minimum of respect rather than this projection game you're doing. Being upset at your abuser and their unwillingness to do anything helpful to fix the situation is a legitimate feeling. It isn't victim blaming. There's that WM guy. Once again, everyone's arguing with him because he wants everyone to be friends, and then we're arguing with that guy.
Because he's a pro shipper and he wants everyone to forgive him for luring minors into erotic roleplay. That's who Sparky is.
Oh, is that the William Moorhan guy?
Okay, just so everyone knows, because I kind of want everyone to just be aware of this fucking creep. He tends to isolate himself to Tumblr. He makes a new account every time he tries to interact with someone. He's a self-proclaimed pro shipper. And when this all started and the video dropped, he was in my DMs on Tumblr proclaiming himself to be a non-offending pedophile and writing multiple pro ship fics.
Thanks, I hate it.
God
Yeah,
damn.
he always has minors do not interact on his Tumblr pages, but then will try to lure minors into erotic roleplay. But, he has the DNI up, so it's really not his fault. And he's just always so sorry, ooh woo. And that's Sparky's MO.
Got it.
Also, that is the thing. I want to do a video on that avenue of abuse, by the way.
Oh, hey,
this
here
is
it
not
is.
the first time I've heard of this happening.
Do you want to read this one, Kisses?
I'm a therapist by trade, so I do a lot of talking. Good therapists aren't talkers. 80% of the time they should listen and 15% should be talking. What the shit?
My response. This is objectively not the case. A good therapist creates a therapeutic relationship with a client and that includes dialogue. Listening is important, but that is only one of a dozen interventions. Please do not tell me how to do my job. It just makes you look like an idiot who has no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, there's no right, percentage here.
I love how,
want to say something really quick. Just because somebody asked in chat. For anyone who doesn't know, a pro shipper is someone who believes in essentially CP shipping.
well,
Shipping minors with adults.
let me
and non-college shipping.
let me clarify that. Go see Sarah Zed's video on pro shippers versus anti-shippers. Both groups have a lot of issues.
Oh yeah, neither of them are great,
but
to be honest.
So a lot of times the non-problematic version of it is pro shippers are people that like to experiment with different concepts, different characters, matching them up, and sometimes these are taboo topic. You can like it, dislike it, whatever. It's fiction. But my point being is that not all of them are into those things that were on this that were just mentioned. But also, I want to be very clear: a lot of people who are anti-shippers tend to be also very puritanical, aggressive, often religious people, and often have been called out and found to be later being they themselves abusers. So I want to be really
an anti-shipper.
Yeah, I want to be very clear. The whole anti-pro shipper debate that's happened over Tumblr and parts of the internet can die in a fire. I find with people whatever they write. You can write whatever you want. You get to be critiqued for it. That's my rule.
We also get into a weird place when you are trying to publish or draw on a real event, because at that point, well, and that's what our argument boils down to, is something that is for you or a small group of people versus something that is now, when you start interacting with other people, then okay, now we've got a few more things to consider, and this applies to consent in any format.
Here we go. We have a person.
Trauma art is trauma art as long as you don't publish it.
I know Beyond Safe Words had to leave, but Beyond Safe Words would love this one. I know it's beside the point, but what Professor Flower said wasn't particularly malicious, especially in comparison to Vosh throwing out white South Africans talking points. Inflating black separatism and black nationalism shows that he has no idea what he's talking about, and he just ignored the facts that decolonization movements have never committed a white genocide, and none of them ever did. He never said a white genocide. He talked about the idea that you can't commit cultural genocide. This is, again...
Culture's not all...
The Professor Flower... I want to be very clear. The Professor Flowers thing will never die.
We got about 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes? Got
Yep.
it. This one. Okay. ZZ, you want to read this one?
Also, I need to be clear that a degree in psychology is not the same as a degree in counseling.
Yeah. We'll explain it. Go.
All right, Bobby will explain it, apparently. As someone with an MCOM in psychology, you using I'm a therapist as a defense mechanism...
Repetitive.
As a repetitive defense mechanism was so personally gross. It's fully projection. I hate seeing people with BAs in psychology use their therapist qual for bad because I'd hate to see that in myself. You have no right to psychoanalyze strangers on the internet, and being a therapist doesn't qualify you as an empath able to speak for others. You clearly didn't study the field to actually contribute to the field of philosophy, neuroanatomy, or psychology. You studies this to bully other queer folk. I'm personally not a fan. I'm sure you won't car. Wait.
So I will read my response in a moment. So this is what I said. And see, this is how I know you're just a lily stand and full of shit. A BA can never let you do therapy. The fact that you think it can proves you know jack shit about our field. I have a master's in an appropriate discipline, and I see clients. One does not have to do research to help people, and your belief that you do is really gross. By the way, that is a form of elitism. The idea that you have to do research in order to meaningfully affect people's lives. No. Therapists who work on the ground, we interact with people. I get to hear my clients say that I have helped them. I get to see that stuff. That still affects the world. I only brought up that I was
I haven't even finished high school.
Yeah. I only brought up I was a therapist twice, so I think that's projection on your part, as is the belief that I use this to bully queer folks. Which queer folks was I bullying? Oh yeah, the YouTuber with 137,000 subs and multiple allegations, including once from her own sister. I think I will live. Lastly, no one was doing psychoanalysis. Please read the disclaimer and actually watch the video. No analysis is done whatsoever. Try harder, but when you make shit up. So I want to be clear about this one.
This is a really weird one because, you clearly didn't contribute to the fields of philosophy, neuroanatomy, or psychology. Those are 3 large areas.
So let's be
What the
clear.
shit?
I have a bachelor's of arts in psychology. I have an associate's of arts in philosophy. Neuroanatomy was a part. Well, it was at least 3 classes in my bachelor's, and no one did great. It's a fucking barrier
That shit's
class.
hard.
And then on top of it, no, I have a master's in counseling. Sorry, I just do. I know because I owe $167,000 on it.
I swear these people watch Law and Order and they think they know everything.
Yeah, this is something really, really messed up because, so again, let's go through it one piece at a time. Using a therapist's repetitive defense mechanism. When did I ever use this as a defense mechanism? When did I ever say that I'm a therapist as a defense mechanism? In fact, I often say that my therapist credentials don't matter. ZZ is not a therapist. For those who think that ZZ is not. ZZ is a tech wizard. They do Linux and shit.
Crossovers in a lot of other areas, but yeah.
You were a social worker at one point.
Hey
right?
guys, let's drop the pro shipper, anti-shipper stuff in chat. Thank you.
Me or Poppy?
Using.
Oh, so I worked at a youth shelter as one of the staff that was there to basically like watch the teens. I was not myself a social worker, but yeah. So
all these people in chat, ears perk up. Linux, Zybo, Xena does Linux.
I do Linux, and if this is your special interest, hit me up on the Discord.
Oh god, I just thought of that one picture I have that says, "I sent you a picture of my thighs. Please install Linux."
Absolutely, that will absolutely get me. Okay.
Real quick, yeah, Juniper in chat said, by the way, essentially,
but Poppy did caseworker stuff though. Or
I did work as a caseworker for a outpatient services thing, working with severe dual diagnosis folks. That is substance abuse and usually either schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, or bipolar disorder 1. Be very clear, I know my shit. Anyway, MCOM in psychology is not a thing, but there is an industrial psychology, which is psychology of the workplace. I'm going to make a really hot take.
Oh, we should do a whole video on this.
Industrial and organized psychology is what happens when psychology gets social psychology. You know, the really cool field of social psychology where we talk about Milgram and stuff gets basically bent over and used for capitalism. It's ways to make working systems better. It's why Google has like their yoga centers and all that stuff. It's all industrial organized psych stuff to make the worker ants happier. Yeah, it's garbage. I really don't like industrial organized psychology. It is just capitalism. Yeah, it's productivity squeezing stuff. We just gotta make the worker ants happy. The whole opener of only one of you talking at a time just smacks of Poppy having an overbearing and controlling attitude that is confirmed as I watch the vid. It makes me genuinely uncomfortable. I like your content, but you need to slow down and let Xena talk more. Therapists are generally known for, being decent listeners, not so much being clearly in love with the sound of their own voice. My response.
Why do people forget that the two of you fucking live together?
Also, this isn't my therapist. This is my partner. I do not.
Like he sat there with a gun to Xena's head going, "Don't you fucking talk."
Literally, my response, sweetie, Xena talks as much as they want and was very happy with the way the video came out. Please stop projecting. Your narrow-minded view of therapists is really inconsequential here because I am not in a professional role. I am not yours or anyone else on this channel's therapist, so I will behave as I see fit and within the agreed parameters established with my co-host and fiancé. ZZ1, do you want to read your response to them?
I'm so confused how you got overbearing and controlling out of that video. If you have some actual data points, go ahead and share them. Otherwise, this is a perfect example of being parasocial. I don't know how you can make a judgment of my partner's character based off of just this video. If this is what you think controlling/overbearing looks like, then I suggest you go look at the Destiny Cycle video where we talk about the power and control wheel. No, really. Like, I pulled out that shit. Other training that I've done. So I've done community training with the local domestic violence and abuse center.
Keep reading.
Oh, but Xena's not allowed to talk.
Right. The opener about only one of us is able to talk isn't about me having enough time to talk. It's there because viewers do the greatest hits of transphobia against trans men and trans women with us. Usually I get ignored, and people hyper-focus on my partner and harass/target/direct comments only to her. I absolutely have agency and can talk and do talk as much as I want. I find it especially infantilizing of you to assume that I can't speak up for myself and my partner needs to change herself to talk less for me. Plus, we've developed signals to let the other know when we want to speak, so we don't have to worry about interrupting each other. Plus, and there's a lot of plus in here, if there was more of my personal takes that you wanted, you could have just asked for it. Xena.
Based.
I really do gotta be real here. Like, we've said so many times that, like, we have ADHD, okay? And then, also, this just reeks of ableism. I mean, I suppose I can't make that claim if you haven't seen any other video besides this one, but if you have, I also deal with migraines. I deal with multiple chemical sensitivities. I have severe sinus issues that mess with, and brain fog has just been a really, and PMDD, premenstrual dysphoria disorder. And so brain fog has just been a symptom of all of these different disorders that I have within me, okay? And yeah,
Besides, it's cute to watch you sit there and knit on stream while Poppy talks and you just go,
I just want to know. I just want to know, like, legitimately, am I supposed to just sit here and like just? Do people think therapists just sit in sessions and like just like through telepathy, also, just like respond to you?
I hate getting with therapists that just let you talk. I'm like, no. If I wanted somebody to just let me talk, I would go to a friend. I need you to actually use your credentials to do a bit more for me right now. No, we stretch each other's legs too. Like if I need something, I just tap Poppy's thigh during a stream. Like, that's it. Or vice versa.
It's almost like there's a lot that happens outside of the tiny little box that films your faces.
Yeah, the thing that I'm hearing on the headphones is true. Well, and like, Poppy and I live together, we have so much time to talk with each other about our takes. So by the time we come to stream, like...
What do you think we're doing when we're folding laundry?
Right? Like, what do you guys think we do when we fold laundry?
You just don't talk. You just silence.
Just students... Oh Christ, neither of us can do that in silence. We're usually watching like Vosh or Keffels or just an SCP video or something fun. Or we've got some books that we gotta go through. Like, no, like we're actively discussing and talking with each other.
Oh God, really your people, no way.
Heck, we talk with Courtney a lot too. Like, yeah. Alright.
So, we're coming down to time because I know you need to get going. Yeah, I was trying to see if we can find that one.
Control F and search through here by that way.
And again, this idea that's like, again, this can we stop with the projection of therapists? I'm not on duty. I'm not acting as a therapist right now. The only thing I bring to this is my MA. My license, my everything does not matter here. It does not matter. So this idea that like I have to like do this like therapist voice and talk like this, I don't even talk like that during sessions. I was literally in a session today with a teen and they were like, I was really mad about this happening. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Like, again, like I don't.
People seem to forget that you being a therapist is your job. And yes, one can be passionate about their job and believe in their job, but that doesn't mean every waking moment of your life is you being a therapist.
Well, not to mention, like,
still a whole ass human being.
Yeah, and it's also just like really fucked because like it also has this thing of like it's one of the reasons why on the Not Safe for Work account on my Twitter why I post so much stuff that's like furry erotica and stuff like that, because again, I'm allowed to be very clear that like I have sexuality, I'm a person who enjoys certain things. Literally, we're in the process of getting like ZZ Asona. Like, again, I don't understand why like I'm not allowed to be a person. It actually feels really invalidating.
Sorry, I read Harmsy's comment while I was...
But yeah, I'll see if I can't find it. But I just want to cover the one that I was trying to find, and that's the one about the flirting. I want to be very clear. Like, I flirt with everyone. I want to be very clear. I flirt with anyone who is female or female adjacent. I like girls. That is a thing. And very few boys. But that's not the point. The point here is that the reason I'm bringing this up is that if someone is uncomfortable with that, I want them to bring it forth to me. If someone doesn't want or reciprocate that, they should tell me, and I will back off respectfully. And that's it. That's simple. It's really that simple. I have been friends with Courtney 2 months before that video came out, and we had already been flirting in DMs and just joking around and talking about random stuff, including random fetishes. Like, the idea that I can't flirt with my friend to bring levity to the actual conversation. Not only is that infantilizing to Courtney, which I take offense to, but it's just plain transmisogyny. It is just it is just these people playing the whole trans women are predators game. Because if I was a cis lesbian and I did that, none of y'all have a problem.
And it also like negates the fact that I'm right fucking here. And, you know, like some people have said it like in the chat earlier, like apparently people find it admirable that my sister has this big platform, and yet I'm willing to just be like, yeah, fuck you, she's a cunt and she molested me. And like, does anybody really think that if I had a problem with something, I wouldn't just fucking say it? Have I come off as shy once?
Right.
Like, that's just the word, like the worst part for me is just like, excuse me, did you Did you not get a read on my personality throughout that whole thing? I am very capable of a clapback.
Well, and again, I just think it's a really invalidating to be like again, like people with like who have CSA in their background, like we're not allowed to flirt. We're not allowed to be like, what does that mean? Does that mean
a nunnery or something?
Isn't it wouldn't it be the goal to actually like reclaim our sexuality because it was stolen from us as children? Like I really don't understand this. Like I really don't understand it.
The fact that I don't have like fucked up issues around anything regarding sex a good thing?
That's fair. All right.
That's what I mean by people just don't understand what it looks like to be at peace with something. So,
with that said, the last thing we'll ask of Courtney, and then we want to make sure her BF gets to go to CPs, is, and plus we have another thing to cover that happened. Q&A time. I was just going to ask if Lily had caught wind of Courtney coming out about the abuse and has made a Twitter post or anything about it.
Oh, she's been banned off Twitter again.
I will also answer this. She did not know it was coming out beforehand because we hit it like a mofo. She knew about it the day that the stream got posted. What all did you learn about from all of this? All of you. Aqua, you asked a question. Hey, Poppy, what do you think of me making a personality disorder trans lesbian character based? If you do it right and it actually like shows the disorder properly, I think it's great. More personality disorder representation.
I think on those kind of things, just make sure you do your research, find like sensitivity readers. That's what personally people people doing personal exploration about things, I think is based.
And then what did you all learn from this? I can speak first. I can say that like I genuinely think I learned. Well, first off, I got a really good friend on the deal, so that made me really happy.
True. Me too.
But also, like the thing I learned about this is that I learned that like a lot of my intuitions about the situation were probably pretty correct, and also that like there does need to be a way in which when somebody who is part of the queer community has been alleged and seems plausible that they have done some really awful stuff, we really need to think about like how deplatforming works in a way that is not queer phobic. What did you learn from this? And then we'll give Courtney the floor.
I think one of the big things for me that I experienced was learning about a lot of other friends' experiences that are similar, and that this also helped in those ways, even though they weren't the exact same situation, they helped a lot. So I did learn a lot about other friends as well. And I think a lot of the biggest learning too has been coming from like figuring out how to handle these kinds of things, because like Poppy said, it's really complicated stuff when we're like, okay, this is a queer person with a platform, how do we do that? Like, we don't to go after a trans woman needlessly because there's already tons and tons of allegations. And so I think this whole thing has been an exercise in trying to figure out like how to at least make something positive come out of this, and how to balance like the lines between like fun and really difficult, and make it in a way that people could actually like hear this and have this information be accessible, and still like make sure that Courtney is taken care of too. Got a lot of learning how to juggle everything at once.
Go ahead, Courtney. What did you learn from this video, getting all this stuff done?
Okay, so you two all had very, very mature and based points, and I'm going to sound like a petty bitch here, but here we go. So what I learned from this was the handful of times I saved my sister's life growing up, I shouldn't have.
Jesus. I mean, that's real. I mean,
pulled her ass out of a lake and saved her from drowning once. Should have walked away.
You want to know what I love is that I have no doubts there's a lot of people that have been through some real shit like you have, and like are afraid to just say these things out loud, even though we know that these thoughts come into people's heads. But here you are as you go, no.
Oh, honestly, like, swear to God, like, I am fairly at peace at this. Like, there is, like, the fact that my sister is my sister. She gets under my skin at times and brings out the petty bitch in me. I will admit it. I wouldn't. My sister likes to be like, oh, I'm harassing her, I'm stalking her, I'm doing this and that. I have my sister's address. I have people in that building who have eyes on her. If I wanted something done to her, it would have been done already. But if you put her in front of
Canada's
me right
terrifying.
now, I'm slapping the shit out of her.
Fair enough. Galactic Cat let Floof Mother use their question, and the question was, have you guys seen the video by this furry commentary channel called Lanza that made an hour-long hit piece on Keffels that includes every lie about her? I haven't seen it, but I'm aware of it. A lot of people hate Keffels. Many such cases, and for very little reasons.
Keffels is another story, though.
Yeah, Keffels is
now
another
we're
story.
talking about Courtney.
Simon the Sheep, you donated $4.99. I don't know what your question is, though.
We can come back.
Yeah, Simon the Sheep, what is your question?
Want to come back to those?
Yeah. For Ripsy. Oh, hi, dear.
Okay, stop with flirting, god damn it.
I am being good.
No. For Ipsy's being good, you're
How do you feel
Cool.
about Lily's puppet and the way she depicts herself in general? Also, I wrote that one comment. Wait, the one where you yelled at me?
The prettier than her comment.
Oh, that was you? Damn, I'm sorry.
That's what I said to her.
Wait.
Oh, Ripsy. Damn.
We love you. It's okay.
I love you. I'm glad you took you
Well,
owned
I
it, though.
guess you got to know us, or know two of these people.
But I guess how do you feel about her puppet and kind of the way she depicts herself in general online?
Oh god, it's so dumb. It's the dumbest fucking thing. And her defense around it's so dumb too, because she's like, oh, it's just cooler than my natural skin tone. And then she'll throw up a picture of her with the worst shade matched foundation that is not blended down her neck I have ever seen in my fucking life.
Jesus.
Like every time she's like, no, look, this is what I look like. It's like, bitch, just blend down your neck, and that's not your shade.
Godzilla, I'm giving Therix your question. Therix05, you have a free question from Godzilla, King of Kaijus. Figure out a question.
And then there's the whole like freakish boob twig thing where she's got no organs or spine, but her tits are like triple D. Like that's not in our
her
genetics,
puppet?
honey. You will never have that.
Oh, yeah,
her
no.
puppet.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like the style is like a new version of what was it? Lizzie made, right?
Yeah, well, it's
like-
a new version. This one was made by Michaela.
This one was made by
the old
Michaela,
one
yeah.
the old one was by Lizzie.
Yeah. I just have to wonder if there was like some repeating of the style that didn't quite
It's
work
possible.
out.
Every time she draws her, she gets skinnier and skinnier and skinnier, and the boobs get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, honey, I'm sorry. Our genetics do not have big boobs. We just don't.
Freddie Bow asked, what is your favorite color in Animal? They don't have a deep question. They just wanted to know.
Oh god, my favorite color is yes. I can't pick one. I like pink mostly. A lot of pink, red, and black. And
Same.
Same with the favorite animal. I mean, I own a cat, but I've also owned 48 at once. So not cats, but animals.
Holy crap!
Hey,
That's
you've come recently to like hyenas more.
and bunnies.
No, hyenas were always cool.
And what about bunnies though?
Bunnies are adorable. I bought my roommate a bunny before I moved out of Ontario, actually.
Oh,
That's
did
really
you see the
sweet.
bunny sonas that we posted in the chat?
Also, I have no doubt about this. Like, we are pro fan art here.
You should scroll up and see the sonas that CZ got. They're in the group chat that we have.
Yeah, we are pro fan art, and I have no doubt that if you guys also feel like drawing something of Courtney, we will also put it on stream to show all.
Oh
of
yeah,
you.
we'll put up Courtney fan art. Let's do
Yeah.
it. Venus asked the $5 question. Love this. Courtney, if all of your abusers were in a burning building, what kind of sandwich would you make?
Cheese, so I can toast it on the fire.
Very nice, very nice. Therix05 using Godzilla's last question. Godzilla being a very generous chant, and I also like Godzilla. Ask the question: what are your favorite genres or bands? Of music. What are the things you enjoy?
Music's another one where it's just everything. The list is probably shorter of what I don't like instead of what I like. And even when I don't like something, it's like, okay, so say a lot of punk. I do like a lot of punk, but I can't understand most of it. So I listen to more pop punk than anything. But there isn't like a single genre of music that I don't actually find something I like in.
I don't see any other questions. So, Courtney, I remember you saying that you and Lily were unable to explain your assault as children. Do you think that a lot of your abuse could have been prevented if you were taught sex ed?
See, we did get taught sex ed, at least in school, but I think just in general, if like even back when I was a kid and even now, if people just explained more shit to their kids instead of being uncomfortable having these conversations. Like I had somebody ask me on Tumblr, like what age would somebody be like able to be held responsible for some of the shit that happened to me? And the way I broke it down was, if your child is old enough to wipe themselves, then it's time to have the conversation that is an area that nobody should be touching and that they should tell you if they are. And then, what is it? Science says like 7-year-olds have the capacity for empathy. So if you know right from wrong, then you can
Actually, it's not even 7. The more recent data shows that like we can actually see 3-month-olds show empathy. What's very interesting, they can also be bought at 3 months. They did an experiment where they basically took 2 puppets, and one of the puppets like attacked the other one, and then like when both puppets offered Cheerios to a 3-month-old, the kid took the ones from the one that was victimized. If the kid got Cheerios ahead of time from the one that then did the attacking, he would take it from the one that did the attacking. Like you can literally buy an infant's allegiance. with
Because,
Cheerios.
Infants are just beings that need their needs met constantly. They
Well,
don't
but that's
know
the thing is,
jack-
like, that level of empathy is incredibly impressive. Like, that's something we didn't know they. Also, next question.
I was just gonna say, there are a lot of times school sex ed programs are very, very lacking. There are other places that do more sexual education and like sexuality in general, like throughout a kid's lifetime. And so the idea is that at every age range, you are doing, age appropriate talks with kids, teaching them proper terminology, proper like boundaries, what boundaries are acceptable for them versus other people. And so you do this at various stages, throughout their life. This is a continuing education process.
Yeah, because like kids don't know anything, and they're learning to people from scratch.
Well, and again, like, let's be super clear, folks. Like, sex ed, again, if you want to really, really protect kids from abusers, sex education is one of the major ways. And again, sex ed needs to be, comprehensive. That includes not just like, STIs and how, stuff like that. It's how condoms work, how consent works, how to get a partner off. I know no one wants to have that conversation with like a 12-year-old, but like, no joke. Like, can we be honest? Like, I work with clients. Some of my clients are cis women. Do you know how many cis teens and like young women tell me stories about guys that can't fucking figure out how a girl's body works? Like, these guys don't even know how to, like, they can't find anything.
Also, if you're stuck and you need some of this education, please feel free to reach out to us on the server. Like, we will help you find resources. Planned Parenthood has great resources as well, talking about consent. Okay?
If y'all want really fun sex education, there used to be this old lady who had this call-in talk show.
I thought you were going to be like, come talk to me and I'll just tell you shit.
No, my sister, thanks. But no, there used to be this old lady. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she used to have this online, like this call-in talk show, and people would call in and ask the most, sometimes ridiculously simple questions about sex, and she would just break it down to like the act of what thrusting is. No shame on this woman, and she was like the best. There were two different ladies. You're right, chat.
That's funny. Also, your doctors can also help you do this too. They should absolutely be able to educate you. All right, go ahead, love. What do we got?
Thank God. Okay. Also, how does it feel to be talking to a ghost?
Like the box ghost.
What ghost? What does that mean? Is that a Tumblr joke?
I don't know. I just went with Danny Phantom.
Honestly, I think I'm lost too.
Venus, we don't know what that means, but the joke is Lily thinks I died of COVID.
Oh.
What? Really?
Forgot about that. Yeah, because Sega at one point she was like, I got COVID, and then Lily's like basically just ran with the narrative that she died because I think she was in the hospital. Am I wrong about that, Sega?
Wow. Okay.
Wait.
Wow.
Wait. What?
Much like Lily constantly makes jokes about attempting Minecraft murder on Lizzie because someone's like, "Oh, do you miss anyone?" Yeah, but my sharpshooter says that should stop happening in a few lessons. And like constantly making references to other people dying.
Next question. Patchy sent in $5 saying, thank you, my son. Do you ever feel like the pseudo-anonymity the internet creates emboldens abusers? Because I feel like it's made a lot of abusers who are public figures feel like they are untouchable.
That, and it just empowers cowards in general. You take consequences away from somebody's actions, it definitely empowers them, be they a public figure or not.
No, agreed. I think the pseudo-anonymity of the internet is something that is, I think it allowed a lot of people who figured out that they could use this as an opportunity to reach out and act in a predatory manner. I think it emboldened them in a lot of ways because it let them feel as though like they didn't have to put their actual like selves on the line. And obviously that's not true in all circumstances, but like if you look like, pre-internet, if somebody was going to be abusive, they would have to actually do that in person, but they wouldn't have to summon you through the interwebs. So it's like, there's a way in which that anonymity, like how many times have people been, human trafficked because they thought they were talking to another like 14-year-old guy or girl when in reality it was an adult.
I got catfished when I was 14 by another 14-year-old girl, thankfully, but
questions.
You never know what they're doing. Anyway.
Haley Walker for $2 says, questions for Courtney. Any books you like to read?
Dark Tower. The whole series by Stephen King.
Nice.
I'm obsessed with it.
So at this point, we're going to close questions because I don't see any new ones. I guess before we let you head off and go cuddle your boyfriend before he passes out, I guess, is there anything like you want to bring up about the segment or anything you want to talk about as far as
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, any final thoughts about all this? Or
I mean, I guess the only thing I could really say is like if people really want to have problems with anything I've said, because I mean, I've gotten some pushback on Tumblr where people have claimed that I'm just airing dirty laundry. And like, the only thing I really have to say is like, if you have an issue with anything I've said, say it to my face. And it's not a threat. That's not me being confrontational, but like, come fucking say it to my face. Because I've got no problem dealing with a problem somebody has personally, but if anybody's going to make it public, I'll continue it publicly. I've got no issues with that. You want to start a fight in the YouTube comments? I will fight you in the YouTube comments. You want a vague post about me on Tumblr? I will absolutely out your ass to my following. I don't care.
So, that's fair.
We will still curate comments based on our rules, okay? So don't be transphobic or anything else like that. Thank you.
You know, I guess the thing I want to say about this whole thing is like, as more information comes out, and as if Courtney wants to come back on, if there's more things that she personally discovers or they want to talk about, and I think Zizi agrees with this, is that like our continued goal is to deplatform and pull folks from Lily's community. So if other content creators want to come forward and actively like step away from there or talk, like we want...
Get in touch with us.
Yeah, get in touch with us. Work with us. And again, Courtney's server is now kind of becoming like a sister server for us. So we're helping her build that up and get that all secured and everything. Right? So again, like she's going to be part of things. She's also got a relatively high rank in our server because our goal is to continue working with her on this project of, you know, hopefully pushing back on this stuff. So,
well, and I think the other big thing too is having another landing place for people who are exiting the community. I think anytime we're dealing with anything that's cult-like or just particularly rough like this, people need a landing spot.
Right now, the invite links to the to Courtney's Discord are shut down. If you want to join her Discord, then what I would suggest you do for right now is I would suggest you either follow her Tumblr and then ask her when she's reopening it, or I would say join our server and we will let people know if she does an open invite, or if certain people want to, we can catalog them and let them know when that time comes.
We've also discussed putting like an extra channel in our server to talk to her, ask questions, that the whole deal too.
Which also would include asking to join the server, which then she could respond to and do stuff with. So with that said, if there's nothing else, Courtney, I really want to thank you for coming on and helping us like decode a lot of this stuff and figure this stuff out. It is always a pleasure to have you on. And if you ever want to come out and like talk about any other thing that's going on the online left or politics or trans stuff or anything, you know, please let us know and you are welcome to come back.
Yeah, absolutely, Courtney.
I want to thank you guys for having me on. I always have a good time doing this, to be honest. It's fun. And It's obviously doing a lot of good, so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thank you so much. And everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.